to address specifically Beth Sweeney. The conversations that I had with Annette Ward about how you were ashamed. I don't know what exactly you were ashamed of, Beth. Whether it was because I was a woman, because I'm old and fat and not real like a trophy. You wanted a workhorse, but you wanted your show horse husband. I don't give a shit. That's not my business. If I meet somebody, things start going on, that lesbian homoerotica, you know you can't put that into words. I feel them out. I put them through a lot of tests before I even think about hooking up with them. The rest of you people, whoever you people you want to consider, whether that be neurotypical, non-autistic, people who aren't investigators, people who have, I don't know, all these friends and, these cliques and these popular little good old gals clubs. I've never been a part of a clique. Never been a part of a good old gals club. It does not interest me. I don't give a shit about ruining your marriage. Your marriage is your responsibility. Your image and how you teach your kids about what's appropriate and what isn't is your responsibility. I got the distinct impression from Nanette when I recorded our conversation. I set her up. I started talking about gay and lesbian issues, and I said, some people, their social status is more important than anything, and they'll hurt anybody to keep it. I said, look at what Beth did to me. And Nanette said, yeah, you're right. That's exactly why Beth did that. Her social status is very important to her. Now, I didn't just quote her, I was paraphrasing, but that was exactly the message. Fuck you and fuck your social status. I love you very much. I loved my wife very much. My wife begged me not to get on the stand on the Beasley case and even tried to prohibit me from doing that. Because having worked for the Department of Corrections and having worked for those two bastard governors, Jeb Bush and somebody else when she worked for the Department of Juvenile Justice, she knew what they were capable of. Her and my mother worked for a municipal prosecutor. Had worked with judges. Was banging one of the judges. Here in Marshall, here in Missouri. I was on the phone with her regularly. She says, Heather, they're going to bury you. I says, yes, Mom, because too many people fucked up. Somebody's got to go down, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get this bastard, all these bastards, locked up. I saved an officer's life. I had been listed as a fugitive for 8 years. You thought that shit was a fucking turn on. A lot of women do. That's why my weight really doesn't matter. Of course, I'm about 40 pounds heavier than I was the last time I saw you, but that's what you get when you lay around and you can't digest your food because you're going septic. Because you've got a rupturing tumor that is affecting all your other organs. And there is actually, I found one article where a woman had a tumor rupture. She was in surgery within 2 hours. It turned out to be a malignant tumor, was a sarcoma. And it had already done damage to her kidneys just 2 hours after it ruptured. And they had to, I don't know what they did. She didn't talk about what they had to do for her kidney. But yeah, that kidney pain, that flank pain I started having after that real bad rupture in December was absolutely apropos. But the point is, I came here, a very important lady named Virginia Holiday, a woman that I absolutely admire, full stop. We never had a disagreement that I'm aware of. I may have done things that she didn't care for, but she didn't tell me about it. Nobody told me. She started asking me questions about my childhood. And I think she knew quite well that she was going to stir things up, and this is where I was going to end up. And she told me quite frankly, those books have to be written because And when she started giving her lecture, I was so fucking flattered that I just basically went blank, and I was like, my God, this woman's endorsing me writing these books. She knows how important they are. Now, this is a woman that testified before Congress about the appropriate application of affirmative action in the military. She worked for the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. She's some sort of supervisor with some branch of the DOJ, whether it be the FBI or I think it's Homeland Security, because she said she's a cop. She investigates human trafficking. I came here to write my books. With the Savant Syndrome, it has its good side and its bad side. If I went somewhere else, people are going to fuck with me the same way they're doing here. Though, actually, that's not true. I'm going to have the same struggles to communicate and get by, and so I'm not going to be able to write about what I need to write about here, because I'm going to be too busy struggling to explain myself and what I'm doing elsewhere to get housing, to get... my rent utilities is paid for life right here. Why the fuck do I want to go somewhere else? You're not running me out of town the way you did Sasha Minu Curry. Now, I know you didn't do that personally, but those good old boys you work for that you're protecting, that you jumped in bed with, that's exactly what they did. And I'm sorry, but that mother lost her daughter. She's getting justice. If it kills me to get it. I'm writing my books right here where I have all the props that are going to stimulate those memories and get me rolling. Would probably take me a matter of weeks to drop the first book, if that. I mean, you see what I can do on a telephone keyboard. You don't know. You've never seen me. Nobody's ever really seen me go at it except my mother. When I wrote the Scott Rosier Mason Voice for Matthew Nessel book under a Flickr photograph, I was sitting there going at it, had my headphones on in her office, and she's running back and forth. She says, I am at your beck and call, whatever you need. And my mother doesn't do that for anybody. I mean, anybody. But she knew I was in the zone, and she knew she was talking to me. She was a journalism major, an education major, graduated summa cum laude, 4.0 GPA, Dean's List, National Dean's List, when she got her degree in mass communications, which is basically journalism. She taught me everything she learned because she knew I was going to take it other places. Think of me as a journalist without borders, an investigator without borders, a special operator without borders, meaning I don't just do it. I don't fit those normal... Everybody kept thinking because I said I did volunteer work for attorneys in Florida, and I kept talking about Chad, my experiences with Chad, that I'm supposed to be walking around looking like Lofton Bowen with a damn bow tie, looking like a dweeb. That's not how free people dress and present themselves. I tell you what, Virginia Holiday sure shit didn't look like a DOJ supervisor, or the woman who controlled the naval movement during the Vietnam War, or someone with the same diplomatic immunity as the president. She looked like every other homeless person. Now, she stood out to me because she had that federal swag. She had the Christian Dior sunglasses on her head, the perfect Hillary Clinton haircut. She had the aviator glasses. The first time she really spoke to me, I just about fell out of my chair. Nobody does that to me. Nobody moves me like that. You did, but I got to tell you something. I'm not going to give up my career or my life or stop busting your ass because you're worried about some shameful issue that is a response to this KKK community. It's your responsibility. I told you I create exits for trafficking victims. Part of that is teaching them how to fight their own way out. Now, I don't give a shit what your circumstances are. But you've got to tell people around you to shut the fuck up and leave you the fuck alone, because You had something with me that never really happened. It never really was consummated. And you're going to have to accept the fact that I'm not going anywhere. Nowhere. United may have to get me out of town to get my diagnosis. If it's cancer, I'm not leaving town. I'm going right over to Stewart Cancer Center. And I bet you I'm treated a whole lot different than I am now without the diagnosis. Nobody around here is going to make the diagnosis. And it's illegal as fuck. And United is more than piqued about why they're having to pay for me to go way out of town. That's the best I can do to help you. But I still have to give them cause. I still have to follow their rules, find a local PCP, and since you and your shame and your meddling with Nanette Ward getting recorded trying to fucking coerce me, you made your bed. You're going to lay in it. I'm having to lay in the motherfucker, going septic, hemorrhaging, unmanaged pain. The insurance company nurses are going, you gotta be fucking kidding me. They don't give a shit about the fact that you falsified. Somebody at your clinic falsely is asserting that I abused my medications, and I don't give a damn if Darla Munoz is part of that. I think that Darla and your admin jumped on the same board because Darla thinks gay people are satanic. So she jumped in her, instead of jumping in the evidence, she jumped in her emotions and prejudices and acted a fool. And I've got her under investigation with the OIG's office for it. Well, United can certainly get on the Department of Homeland Security's ass for that bullshit, because it's costing them a fortune. They don't believe 1 minute this is a benign muscular fibroid. If it is, it's a bad motherfucker. So, it's just like its mama. Bad motherfucker. That shit turned you on. The fact that you're not turned on by it anymore, it's coming back to bite you in the ass. Bite the bullet and get the fuck over it. And I don't want to hear boo-hoo stories about, oh, you're stalking Beth. Baby, I love you, but there's plenty more ass out there in the sea. You are not the last piece of ass on the planet. Nobody's worth stalking and going through this for. Nobody. I told you I would do it. I told you I wasn't going anywhere. I told you were stuck with me. And I told you if you acted a fool and acted like a fucking criminal, and I had to suffer because of your criminal actions, and that's in one of those emails you guys don't want to turn over from the patient portal, you were going to suffer with me. What did you do? Went and dropped off a prescription at the pharmacy. That was just a huge turn on for you. That I said no matter what, I wasn't going anywhere. And now you want to have people try to maneuver me out of town, out of my home? No, I don't respond to terrorist tactics, and I sure as hell don't respond to hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. You scorned me first. You came in there, you lied to me, you participated in the coercion. Maybe you were coerced into participating into that. And that's something you need to tell United. Something you need to have your lawyer tell United. But I remember what was in those emails. Problem is, my memory doesn't serve as evidence. That's why you're not turning them over. That's why you were deleting them. That's too bad, Toots. You made your bed. I'm going to lay in it. And I'm not going anywhere. And if I have to do what I have to do to embarrass the fuck out of you and tell my story out in front of your clinic, so be it. If that's what it takes to get a whole bunch of patients to start doing what the students did, enough's enough. Because I know I'm not the only patient that went through this at your clinic. I'm not stalking you. I'm not interested in stalking you. I didn't do that when I was your patient. I'm not going to do it as your ex-patient. Grow up.